Welcome to For the Record, an unfiltered view on current trends and timeless advice for surviving in the aesthetics industry. Whether you're an injector, practice owner, sales rep, or marketer, it's time to set the record straight. Each week we cut through the chaos and showcase diverse perspectives and winning ideas from the best minds in the industry. I'm your host, Dr. Tiffany Hall, Chief Growth Officer at Aesthetic Record. Now, let's get started on this week's episode. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of For the Record. And we have today our first ever bona fide stars. We have a lot of people who are stars in their own heart, but never really stars. We have with us today the Deubers of Dallas. We have with us Cary Deuber, who is a nurse injector and I think a master nurse injector. She also runs the medical spa part of Lemmon Avenue Plastic Surgery and just came off stage about 2 hours ago from live injecting here at AN. We have with her husband, Dr. Mark Deubers, who is a plastic surgeon extraordinaire to all the fab faces in Dallas and probably around the world. They're world travelers. They have a little bit of TV here and there. Also just really great people. And Cary is a riot. So glad to have her and her husband here on the podcast today to talk about all things aesthetics. So Deuber Clan, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having us, Tiffany. We're so happy to be here.
We're glad to have you.
We're having a great time.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have no need for introductions, but you obviously do a ton.
We do a lot. We do a lot. I've been injecting for about, 20 something years.
She's got good work done, guys.
I've been a plastic surgeon for about 25 years, board certified.
Yep. So we run Lemmon Avenue together and, it's evolved in all of the years, right, that we've been doing this.
Well, first of all, let's start there. You're husband and wife running a business together and no one's dead.
Like no one is dead yet.
Not yet.
I mean, there's still.
Give us time.
Yeah. What day is it? I mean, could happen tomorrow. We don't have guns in the house for a reason.
Well, and you have a cute little kiddo. Zuri is all over the world. She's going to camp, I think, in every country. That's hard. I think in aesthetics today, everyone's a working mother, working father. The days of building a business when your wife stays at home and makes the bread, that's over. You're making the bread like the real bread.
It's hard.
It's hard work.
I mean, it's hard because you're both, at the business. You're both trying to run everything yourselves. I mean, we do it ourselves.
Last time I checked, I do the cooking.
Yeah. And the finance, but I do the people. So, we split it up.
It takes all
hard.
kinds.
And our daughter's 12 and thriving and
going on 27.
Yep.
I have a 12-year-old. I know they're hard work. Hard work. And you do the cooking. So let's take a side note there. You guys are big cooking people.
Yeah.
We have a whole Instagram
cute
about
little
cooking.
Deuber table.
Yeah, we actually started that during COVID when I was losing my mind that I thought we were going to be out of business forever. And she's like, you got to find something to do. And so we started these little cooking things and people love it. And people come up to me in the supermarket I've never met. And they're like, what's for dinner tonight? What are you making? What's in your shopping basket?
Yeah, I feel like we have a lot of different notorieties, right? We cook and, we did reality TV for a while and Real Housewives but we're real people. We have real careers and, work really hard trying to build our business and our brand. And it's a lot.
Well, it's funny because I knew you as Cary Deuber, the injector, before I knew you were on Housewives.
Yeah, and I love that.
I didn't know anything about Housewives
but that's what's kind of nice.
I don't really watch it. I mean, I've watched the Flipping the Table lady, but you're a legitimate nurse who does.
Don't watch it.
She might be legitimate. We don't know.
I mean, no, I am. And I mean, I think that's what's cool about when I first started kind of coming to some of these conferences. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Nobody knows me. And it's kind of fun. But now people have started to know us through our actual craft. People are like, oh, you're Dr. Deubers and you're an injector. And so it's been really great.
By the way, she is a legitimate nurse. If you look her up in the nursing board under Cary Deuber, you won't find her because she never changed her last name for her nursing license.
I'm
do it.
She's Cary Christensen.
Yep.
Well, how big is your practice? Because I feel like you guys have grown, even since I've known you've grown significantly. So what's your count right now?
Oh, God.
Somewhere between 25 and 30, I think. It changes every day, but I think we have around 25 employees. But that's split between plastic surgery, between the surgery center, and then between the kind of med spa.
Yeah, so we have lasers. We have 2 locations. So we're in Dallas and then in Frisco.
So, 30 people. You guys travel.
Yep.
You're able to do that. So tell me how that works, because I try to travel to my house without getting a phone call, and that's impossible. You must be training your people to be phenomenal and delegate to great humans to be able to travel and have your practices run.
We're really lucky to have an amazing staff. I feel like we've been through it. We've had ebbs and flows and we've been through it all. And I think through that process, we've found really great people who we can trust And I mean, that's the hardest thing in this industry is finding people you can trust with your business, with your name, your brand, and your money, your notoriety, all of those things. I mean, that's the hardest part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have a great staff, I think, and we have people at all different levels. I'm the only doctor there, but we have PAs. We have 2 PAs, and then we have several nurse practitioners. We have a soon-to-be nurse practitioner, and then we have nurses and laser techs.
So a whole army.
And we kind of all just work together. I think that that's really what it's about. It can't be, it's too hard with, people, everybody needs to chip in a business or it's never going to work.
I mean, even here at this meeting, everyone has a job. The person who is like bringing over the badges is as important as the person who's like on stage, because you have to have everything. And I think that's underestimated.
Everybody needs to be treated that way.
One of the things we're really happy about too is that we offer the full spectrum of aesthetic treatments. So we have everything: injectables, lasers, skincare, and then we have plastic surgery. And so we're not like we just have a hammer and everything is a nail. We can offer the right treatments for everybody.
Well, that's one thing I want to talk about too, because there's often this little bit of a war right now about plastic surgeons and the facelift versus sculpture and radius, which I think is hogwash.
Oh yeah, well let's ask him.
But for sure, how does that work for you, Dr. Deuber? I'm sure you do a gazillion facelifts. You're known for that. Yeah. What's that look like?
We do a lot of facelifts. The first thing I look at is, you look at our office staff. We don't have any weird looking people there. And I think that when, and this may be an unpopular thing to say here, but I think if all you have is injectables, people can go overboard with it and people end up with filler face. And we don't produce any filler face in our office, and we don't have any staff who have filler face or look that way.
How do you feel about how radius and Sculptra or biostimulators?
Does it bother you at all as a plastic surgeon?
Surgery for you for a facelift?
Well, I think there's 2 different issues there. I think there's plastic surgeons who say if they're going to do a facelift on somebody, they don't want them to have any injectables for at least a year or longer. And I don't feel so strongly about that. I do. First off, I do a lot of rhinoplasty, and a lot of rhinoplasty patients that come to me have had non-surgical rhinoplasties first. And for a while, I kind of required them to dissolve their filler up. And now I don't really care. When I open a nose and I do open rhinoplasty, it's pretty easy for me to see the filler. It's always HA-based filler, and it's easy to see it. It's easy to deal with it, and it's not a problem for me. Plastic surgery, facelift, it's a little bit different because, Sculptra can create scar planes that are a little bit more difficult to elevate. It's not really a problem. Radius is the one that's the biggest problem. I frequently see a little bit of radius here or there.
But
I did a facelift about 3 months ago, and the lady had an unbelievable amount of radius in her, and she didn't even remember it. And I don't think she got it from us.
He called me in the operating room. He's like, "You have to come see this."
Oh yeah.
No, but listen, the reason he had trouble with it, this radius was injected.
Yeah, it was
in the complete wrong place.
It was everywhere. It was everywhere. She had a ton of superficial radius and she had a ton of deep radius. I do true deep plane facelifts, and typically you shouldn't find that stuff in the deep plane, at least not a lot of it, maybe a little bit, but she had it everywhere.
It was my patient.
And it's stuck to her, to essentially the smash or the structural support layer of the face. So you can't take so much of it out that you're damaging the structural support of the face. So I took most of the superficial radius out that I could get, and I made sure that I trimmed whatever was real lumpy, and I did the best I could with it. But she still got a great result. So I don't feel strongly that it's a contraindication.
I think it's important to have a good injector.
Yes.
Because I was mortified when I went in there and saw where the product was placed, because I was like, oh my gosh, they could really hurt somebody. So that's where I feel like this industry has expanded so rapidly, and everybody is injecting and they're not putting it in the right place.
The one problem that I did see that was untenable, or I don't know a way to deal with it. I saw a woman about 3 weeks ago who wanted a secondary facelift. She had a facelift, and this woman had a ton of Bellafill put in her face. Yeah. And the surgeon that did her facelift is actually somebody I know, and he told her he removed what he could. But her problem was that she was trying to fight her marionette lines and her nasolabial folds with Bellafill, and she had horrible filler face. And she told me that she asked her injector for it. I don't remember where she went for it, but she told me that it was her request, and her injector really tried to talk her out of it, but she demanded Bellafill. And now she's like, well, what can you do about it now?
Listens to the patient on what
really
product.
have a solution to remove a ton of filler here.
Who asked for Bellafill? Like,
I don't even know.
no hate from the pod, but
Don't recall where she lived. She's been in Louisiana. I can't remember, but it was a weird city.
there
It
are some
wasn't somebody
devotees. I mean, there's some. I know Scott Callahan uses it all the time. People
There
love
are
it.
some people who love it. I do not love it.
Carrie, I think
That
what you
is-
said is so true, though. It's
tissue
technique.
brain.
It's tissue
technique.
paint. Where are you going to put it?
Like my patients that I send to him that have had Sculptra, have had Radiesse, have had biostimulators, it's easy for him to do a facelift on.
I
them.
remember meeting the Bellafill rep in
Oh my
Dallas
God.
years and years and years ago. And unfortunately, I say what I think and I think what I say, and I don't sugarcoat anything. And this rep, I hope she's not out there watching this, but she was so weird looking and she had Bellafill everywhere. And she was trying to sell me this product. And I said, I can't buy this from you looking at what you look like and how much of this stuff
said
you've
that.
used. You don't know when to say when. And, I'm not interested.
But
There
my
you go.
goodness, okay, when you walk into a show like this, you see faces of all kinds. It's very true. You see people who you're thinking, if a patient comes to you and looks at you, would they think, gosh, she looks great. I want to look like her. Like, don't you wonder sometimes
I
about
do
that?
wonder. I'm like, so you looked at that injector and you
And
thought,
that's my look
yeah,
right there.
I want to look like that.
I mean, the funny thing about you, Carrie, is that you were married to a surgeon, but you
Yeah,
have a very
I-
natural looking face. Nothing's crazy.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the other thing is you can look at some plastic surgeons' wives out there, and some of
that's a
them
big
don't know
one.
when to say when either.
they
And I'm,
over index a
like,
little.
scared to do anything. Like, I mean, not scared, but I just don't want to look done. Like, that's my biggest thing because I'm an injector. Okay, I have like a bunch of strikes, right? I'm an injector. I'm a plastic surgeon's wife. I was a real housewife. Like, all those things usually add up to crazy looking.
Oh, yeah. And it makes me furious on her. And I used to react much more negatively than I do now on her Instagram. But all the haters, and it comes from the Real Housewife fan base, they would be like, oh, my God, Cary, you were so beautiful and you look so natural and you really need to
They're like, what
know
happened
when
to
to
you?
say when. And she's had she's
younger.
had nothing.
Yeah, he's done my upper eyes.
Yeah, she's had like 5 years ago, she had her upper lids and she's had
Like
a tiny bit of lip and nothing else and tox.
Yeah.
But the haters are going to hate. Like, the hater rate
and
is strong.
biostimulators. I
Which
love
everyone should be
biostimulators. And
doing.
PDRN.
But so how do you do? So even
Mezzanine.
let's say forget housewives, just being
Yeah.
a Dallas socialite couple because you're very Dallas famous. The hate is pretty extreme for all of us in
Yeah.
any role. If you're good at
Yeah.
your job, people hate
For
you.
sure.
How do you deal with that part of it? Because I do think you are very natural looking. You're a brilliant surgeon. But people still hate you for it. Like, you
Yeah.
can't win in this world.
Oh, for sure. But I'm not like here to win.
Yeah.
I'm just here to be me. And I think that like the positive outweighs the negative most of the time. And I try to just keep that perspective because it is very hard. People will say mean things, but I just don't listen to it anymore. And I just know, I feel like,
They almost never say it to your face.
Never.
Also, they say it when they're sitting at their computer in the dark.
yeah. But I just
Then
like,
they meet you and they're like, oh my God, I
Oh,
love
you're so
you.
nice.
I feel like after 1 million people have watched you like on
Yeah.
TV, like over and over, like
In
you
your
just-
vulnerable
you don't
state.
care
Yeah.
anymore. Like I really don't care what people think. And I feel like I know in my heart, I'm doing the right thing for patients. I'm doing the right thing for myself and my family. So it doesn't matter. If you don't think I look good, that's your problem, not mine.
Well, I think for people who are newer to injecting and they get famous quickly, it's hard. Like,
Yeah.
I think of a few names who their flames have burned out quickly. It
Yeah.
grew and then it died, and it's hard for them. They don't know how to accept it quite yet, and they don't deal with it very well. So
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's interesting to me too with this industry where people think like, oh, I'm famous.
Like,
I'm like, okay, cool.
yeah, Beyonce,
like,
you go, girl.
Yeah, you do it. Like, I'm glad you have great self-confidence. I think that's a really important thing in life. And I never want to yuck anybody's yum, as one of our injectors always says. But I think that like, you've got to keep your head about you because like you are a provider and you're providing medical care for patients.
who are
And so
trusting you.
It's not really about you and your Instagram, or it shouldn't be. It needs to be about your patients who you're caring for. Like, it makes me nuts.
Well, and you guys obviously are doing every service under the sun, aesthetics wise. You're doing a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things.
What's the new or the most promising thing that we're seeing? I know that you love all your alphabet soup, your PDRNs, all your things. What is the thing I should be looking out for in the next 2 to 3 years? That's going to be the up and comer.
I think what you're looking out for in the next 2 or 3 years is I think it's a little scary, actually. I just think that this industry has, I love the topical PDRN. I don't do any of the injecting of that or any of the growth factor stuff, except for PRF from the patient. I just think things are expanding a little bit too rapidly.
And
so
the
I'm a
FDA is not
little-
joking around. The FDA will come. They're going to come
Yes.
for us at some point soon.
They-
I'm fearful.
I think they will. And I think they probably should slow some of the process down because I think that there's a lot of companies who want to make money. Sorry, this may not be popular to say, but I really want to focus on patient care. And there's just a lot of things in the toolbox. And especially for me, what makes me a little nervous about the future, there's so many people who have wanted to get into aesthetics and want to become injectors. I've been doing this for 25 years. I sometimes walk in the supply room and I'm like, gosh, look at all these products.
You used to have
All
like
the things
Restylane.
I've
That's
had
it.
You know, I
what
think
is all this?
I think I can kind of address it also from the kind of business side. There's been crazy growth in the aesthetic space in the past 4 years, and a lot of it was fueled by COVID and the growth that happened.
numbers
And
were
nobody
awesome.
saw that on the front end that would happen, but certainly in retrospect, it's obvious. People have been doing business on Zoom and looking at themselves all day long and caring more about their appearance. So that's driven a ton of growth. And the growth that we've seen in the past 4 years is unsustainable, but I think everybody wants it to continue and more companies are getting in there. They're creating more and more products. And there's not, someplace to put these things. It's the same thing that happened in the mortgage space where people were creating mortgage-backed securities and they didn't have any
Don't
more
say that.
mortgage to put in there. And so they made worse and worse loans. So, I still have a very balanced approach, and I'm very proud of what we have at Lemmon Avenue, that we offer surgery, we offer injectables, we offer lasers, and we offer skincare. And I think there's a role for all of these in every patient. I don't think that there's a patient that exists out there that over the course of his lifetime is going to be treated entirely with injectables or with lasers or with minimally invasive things. I think that there's a role for everything that we offer, and there's a time and a place.
I mean, where do you think it's going to be in 5 years? From what we've seen in the last 20, what do you really think with all of these different things coming to market and changing the way that we inject? And what do you think is going to be the next thing?
Well, I think what you mentioned about first of all, the 2008 economy tanking with collateralized,
Yeah.
mortgage obligations. But I think we were looking at COVID thinking that we're going to be there forever, and we're not. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the ship that has sailed, honey. That's
Yeah, that's
and we may never see it again in our lifetime. We don't know.
Nope.
But I
Yeah.
think to your point, Dr. Deuber, we're fighting that monster that we're never going to get again, and so we're putting all this shit in a bucket, basically,
so
trying to recreate the magic, and we just can't. So I think getting smarter about what you have in your practice, offering a diverse collection of things. I believe that the idea of like a wellness center, which is going to be plastics, med spa, it might have a wellness, weight loss esque kind of
Yeah.
surgery center or a center. Maybe there's a dermatologist on site. Who knows? But it's getting more of a mecca of things. I don't think the standalone med spa is going to survive in the next 10 years.
I don't
It's not enough service offering for a person like me. I'm in my early 40s. I'm going to need a facelift. I'm going to want to do a body makeover. I'm going to do all these things. My injector, if she or he's with my surgeon and we can do a care team,
Yeah.
it's more appropriate for me to go there where I get it all done.
Yeah.
I just think it's a different model
it's just being able to provide what the patients need.
in one place and
Yeah.
in one avenue. Like
And
one,
it's not
one,
Like
one
there's no
road.
magic sprinkles.
Yeah.
Like they keep putting
wish
magic
there-
sprinkles out there.
I wish there was.
I know. Me too.
And I do think we're going to see some smoke and mirrors. I think some of the regenerative things that are coming out, I hope that they're really effective. I pray they really are safe and effective, but I don't know. And the science is there for certain things like wound
It
care and such, but I just don't know here today in this industry. We didn't think we were going to have delayed onset nodules either.
No.
We didn't think we were going to have Bellafield issues either. We didn't think we were going to have, any of these things we've had. And it happens. And you look back and think, gosh, if we just waited another month or two, we would have known
that's
this.
why I'm not like
You just gotta wait a
I'm not a
second.
cowboy with stuff like this. Like I take my time getting to know things and kind of watching everybody and watching the market and reading the studies and knowing the science behind it, but just kind of watching and learning. And I think that that's a good pace for me personally. And with a high profile practice also, I just don't think you should be doing crazy stuff.
And you have more
I do
tools
the
in your
stuff that's
toolbox.
effective. Yeah, we have a lot in our toolbox.
You don't need to. You don't need
I
to
don't
go crazy. You've got
No.
other thing. What about in the plastics world? What are you guys looking at? Thinking is going to be the next big wave?
I love your what you started. doing.
So
Really,
So I've always done deep plane facelifts, and I've always been a believer that a deep plane facelift is the most powerful facelift that there is in terms of moving your soft tissue as far as it can. So a true deep plane facelift, you elevate the SMAS layer, you elevate the SMAS, and there's retaining ligaments here. And if you release these retaining ligaments, the SMAS will move farther than if you don't. You can only release those if you get under it. So the majority of plastic surgeons do facelifts where they plicate or tighten the SMAS, but there's tightening it against a retaining ligament that's holding it in place. And so when you release these retaining ligaments, you can move the SMAS more. The negative to deep plane facelifts have been several. More swelling, longer surgeries, higher learning curve, more technically demanding. But in general, the more swelling is one of the biggest ones that we've seen. Patients have a larger tissue plane that can get swollen, and it's a longer recovery period. So what we've developed is something that I call the mobile deep plane facelift, where we only get under the SMAS in the anterior part, release the retaining ligaments. I'm just under skin where the SMAS is over the parotid, where there's no benefit in removing it. And then we've been doing something called a hemostatic net that was developed by a plastic surgeon about 5 years ago. And we're basically attaching the skin back down to the deeper layers here and throughout the neck.
and it's not a net; it's actually suture.
Yeah, it's stitches. It's stitches that people are concerned it's going to leave marks. We take these out at 48 hours, but they allow us to precisely reposition the skin exactly where we want it. So I can actually do kind of a little mini lateral brow lift without doing a brow lift, because I can position the skin a little bit better. The patients have much less swelling. We haven't seen a single hematoma since we've done it, because we're obliterating so much of the dead space. It's the same thing that we started doing with tummy tucks about 15 years ago.
Like the drainless tummy
When
tuck.
I went into practice, every plastic surgeon put drains in their tummy tucks, and drainless tummy tuck was actually developed by a guy here in Dallas. But most younger plastic surgeons now do drainless tummy tucks.
They've never even thought about it.
They never
Yeah, so we're putting a series of quilting stitches internally while we're doing the same thing in the face now. And I think that in 5 years, this is going to become the standard for everyone.
So, like when I go in and see the patients post-op, they come in for their 2-day follow-up to have their sutures removed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like just to have the hemostatic netting removed or hemostatic stitches. And I mean, they don't have the swelling that they used to. Like it used to be like.
That's why I'm like nervous about getting
facelift patients.
I'm like, thank God we needed a solution.
Facelift patients are very worried about when can they be camera ready or when can they be out there. And we're seeing much less bruising with this, especially in the younger patients. And frankly, many of my patients at 6 or 7 days, they don't look swollen to anyone anymore.
I know.
It's amazing.
Well, it's so interesting. I had a discussion with somebody last week, and they said, oh, she could benefit from a deep plane, but it's just so much work and so much extra. Like, I don't want to do that, because it is, to your point, it's just more. It's more is more. This is a huge thing.
You have to know your planes.
So I'm entering the deep plane much farther forward than I was trained to do here in Dallas. And there's a very famous facial plastic surgeon in Australia who did that, Brian Mendelsohn. And I'm using a similar entry point to the SMAS to what he uses. But then I've incorporated this hemostatic net, and it actually makes elevating the deep plane faster. And it's as powerful as the more traditional old school deep plane facelifts. But it's
so great.
Doesn't take quite as long, and the patients recover much faster. You also significantly decrease the risk of having nerve injury to the nerve to the brow, because we're entering the deep plane anterior to where that nerve runs. So you can't hurt that nerve.
What a great cherry on top, because our theme here this week is beauty beyond borders. It's about the global perspective, and that when we go look outside of the US, we find all these amazing techniques, ways to do things that sometimes, because we are sort of in our celebrity psychosis here in the US, we don't look outside of ourselves.
Right.
And there are so many people who are doing amazing things all around the world that are not here yet. And I love this, because you guys are also known for I think your breast talk is also very minimal.
When I went into practice, that's I joined probably the most famous breast surgeon in the world. And so I had a
Dr. John's
huge,
habits. Yeah.
I had a huge breast practice for many years, and many people still know me for that.
yeah.
We have T-shirts we give to our patients
Boobs
to say
by
"boobs
Deubers."
by Deubers."
Oh, I've heard.
But yeah.
So he does a lot of that. I think, him and I work similarly with my injection practice and his surgical practice. We're both very efficient. I'm an efficiency model, and so is he. I think a lot of times like patients would think, oh, if you take your time, if it takes longer, you're doing better. Well, it actually is the opposite.
Especially if this one's open on a
And
table.
especially
Boy, you
if
go
it's
fast.
surgical, there's so many more complications that can happen the longer
the
time spent.
data is very clear. If you look at heart surgery, the longer a heart operation takes, the higher the mortality, the higher the complication, the higher the infection rate. Shorter surgeries lead to better recoveries, better outcomes, less infection, less swelling. So a facelift for me,
Asking for a friend.
if it's just face, it's about 2.5 hours. And that's a true deep plane facelift. If it's face and eyes, it's 3.5 hours. If it's face, eyes, and brow, it's about 4.5 hours. And I don't do many brow lifts anymore. Cary's trying to get me to do more again because, and I think some of this comes from the injectors and the threads too. And people are getting used to this. And to me, it's a little weird looking.
It does get a little high. We call that Jack to Jesus around here.
So I do way fewer brow lifts than I used to. I still do some, but to me, they're a little weird. I remember Cary used to get Botox the old school way where she got these Spock ups and they thought it was so cool.
I'm like, no, my Botox is better.
Nuts.
Like, no, my neuromodulator is better.
I don't think the people who know what they're doing do that anymore, but I think we still see people walking around who have those Spock eye Botox.
Oh, just walk around.
Walk around, you'll see it.
Take it. You'll see it. They're here. They come into me and I'm like, oh, sweetie.
Let's calm those brows down.
I'm like, let me guess that you're from outside of the loop.
Well, this is a competitive market in Dallas, so you got to be really good. Or
you're done.
Well, it's a huge area. Everyone's very surgery and aesthetics focused. You got to be good because there's a person next door to you on both sides.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Trying to take your patients.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why, I guess, that's one thing someone said to me the other day. They're like, yeah, I knew you from, being on TV, but how do you really, I'm surprised how well you've done, like taking the brand, or just like a lot of these housewives, they'll just come up with an idea, right? And then they can't launch the brand or keep it going past that point. And I mean, this is my career, it's my life, and it's because I'm really good.
And you already had a career.
Really good. And we already had a career.
You came to your first photo shoot in your scrubs. We know.
Oh my
God. You were already a
God.
nurse.
So I still cannot believe that
that would be me.
I think that was a badge of honor.
I did.
It's a great story.
It was the scrubs from the vending machine too at Baylor. Like it wasn't even, I'm not kidding. It was surgical scrubs.
It wasn't Cary Deuber approved.
It wasn't monogrammed and cute color.
I know.
Don't be talking to Dan Scopes.
I know.
So if you guys have not heard the story, I think it's on your Instagram, but the Real Housewives had those like funny sayings in the beginning, and here's Cary at her photo shoot in her scrubs.
We had a bilateral.
So back then, this was 2015 or 16. I mean, I was still doing reconstructive surgery, and I was doing aesthetic breast and reconstructive surgery, and I did one nose a year, and maybe 4 facelifts a year back then, or something like that. I mean, we actually, oddly enough, we got into the med spa space as a fluke because she needed a storyline for one of the seasons on the TV show.
Season 30.
And she said, how about I could run a med spa. And I said, well, if you're going to do that, that's not just going to be your storyline. You're really going to do it. We're not just going to do something stupid for TV.
Because we already had that going on, but I was like, oh, well, let's label it and actually call it something and grow it. And so we did.
And it worked. Obviously.
And it worked. But yeah, the first photo shoot for Housewives, I showed up in scrubs because I had to be at surgery. And they gave me a time and I was like, look, there's a patient on the operating room table. We're doing, we're waiting for general surgery to finish. And I need to be at Baylor to do this surgery. And so I showed up in that. And everybody else had hair and makeup and glam. And I was like, oops, sorry.
And everyone still knows your name and forgets who else was on the show. So there you go.
Happens.
Case in point. Be a real human. That's
I know
people out there. But I think that is a part of it too. I think the Real Housewives thing and the storyline is like
great platform.
It's your real job. You're actually a really great injector. You're great on the stage.
Yeah.
You're a real person.
Thank you.
You both are. I see you.
Thank you.
I see you guys everywhere.
Thank
Always
you.
Together.
You too. I know we are.
You have a happy home, happy life.
Yes.
She still likes her husband. I do. I can't say the same. No, I'm kidding. I love Mike's husband. He's great. But what's next for the Deubers?
What's next? I mean,
anything fun coming up?
We're going to Tahiti.
We're going to Tahiti.
We're going to the Brando in a little bit.
Oh,
couple weeks. Yeah. We just got back from Switzerland.
Can't recommend it highly enough.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Well, I want your
random.
travel schedule.
Oh, well, but then we're locked and loaded because
we typically we travel
we're
a
both
lot.
really busy.
We usually take a big vacation every August. And when I went into practice, my partner told me, take the month of August off because you'll want to kill yourself if you don't. You're going to think it's the end of your practice.
No one's coming in August.
Yeah,
so-
here in
Yeah,
Dallas,
for you to
it's
sit there
too
like,
hot.
forget-
Everybody is on vacation. They're in Aspen. They're in Cabo. They're wherever. They're not in Dallas. So that everybody thinks we're dying anyway. So we take that time off, and then we go on a 10-day ski trip for spring break. And lately, Tahiti has fallen into our,
in our
travel
mix.
routine because we've fallen in love with the Brando.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like work hard, play hard, right?
You have
I
to.
mean, we'll work crazy and then relax and then get right back at it. I think that's really the key to not burning out, because especially when you're seeing, I see like 10, 15 patients a day, and, you get tired, and you get tired of just it's a lot of
The other key, like I said, my partner I joined, John Tebbett, said take the month of August off. The other thing he told me was only work 4 days a week and have 1 day a week that is a day that you can do admin if you have
That's what I
to,
do.
or you do something that's a hobby, or you do something that's fulfilling. But you'll be much more productive and successful in your life and you will not burn out, or you're much less likely to burn out if you can maintain your schedule that way. And so we always do that. I don't work on Mondays. Occasionally I go in and see one patient, or I have admin or something, but it's not a day that I operate. It's not a day that I have a full day of patients, and wouldn't be productive for me to add more patients on. You could say, oh, you could see more people, you could bill more or schedule more, but it's not, I would lose my mind.
Yeah. And that's, I inject, 4 days a week, 3 to 4. And then I have my other injectors who they're amazing. They're all trained, fantastic. And, they're there, but I need to do admin too.
And have outside interests. Like it's okay. It's okay to live a fulfilled life. No one's going to punish you for that.
No, I think if you don't, you'll just regret it. We can't make more time.
Well, I agree with you. I think you guys are, whatever you're doing it well, because everyone
you.
knows you. You're loved by all in our industry,
Thank
at
you.
least. We love you
Thank
to
you.
death. And you've been such a great help for Aesthetic Next
My
over
gosh.
the years. Year 3? 4?
4 maybe?
Yeah. I think
I looked back, it was like 20.
I was like, she'll never come to Aesthetic Next. She's like, oh, I'll be there.
I'm like,
Let
I'll
me
come
know.
if you ask me.
Just
I'm like,
be right with
you're
you.
sweet. I'm like, I'll be there.
But it was great this morning. So if you guys,
Thank
if you weren't here, we do have an online virtual viewing of this. So
I
get
did a
your
beautiful
ticket.
jawline.
Yeah, she had
Y'all
a
check
beautiful
it out.
model and did a great job.
Yeah.
And Dr. Deuber's work is on Instagram as well. All the things that you do are there. I stalk both your Instagrams a lot because I'm always trying to figure out what's like surgery if I want to do it or not do it. Because I'm like, facelift is in my near future and I'm a nervous wreck about
Same
it.
girl.
But now I'm thinking about this new technique. I might be more inclined to do so because I hear at 45 it's time to go, and I'm right there on the
Get that.
cusp.
Yeah, it depends on the person.
Makes me nervous.
I know. It's just your face.
Just a moneymaker. But thank you for joining me today on For the
Thank you
Record.
for having
I
us.
love having you guys on.
Thank
And
you,
enjoy the rest of
Thank
the
you.
conference.
Thank you.
For
We
all of you
will.
at home, follow them on Instagram. Watch their stories, see what they're doing. Look at their food
Fun.
because their cooking is also exquisite. They're not just great at aesthetics; they're also good at cooking too. But with all that, we'll say bye to you guys, and I'll see you for the next
Bye.
podcast.
Thank you,
Bye, Deuber
Tiffany.
family.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of For the Record. This podcast is not intended to provide legal or medical advice. It's for entertainment, education, and information purposes only. For more information on this week's guest or to get started with Aesthetic Record, email us at info@aestheticrecord.com. Be sure to tune in next week for more fresh perspectives on disrupting the status quo and surviving in the aesthetics industry.